Okay, so you guys know the drill by now with these videos. I will blab, and you are hopefully listening, and then you will pause it and write the notes in your notebook, and then hit play, etc., etc. Okay, so the Arabian Peninsula is where we are at. This is where the Muslim empires were located at, and where the religion of Islam sprang up or came to be. So the Arabian Peninsula is right there between Africa and like Europe and Asia. It's a peninsula, so it's surrounded on three sides by water. Hopefully you knew that. But if we zoom in to see kind of some of the physical features, we see like mountains and some ocean, but when we're looking at the actual peninsula, the actual piece of land, it's basically all desert, just like vast desert. So people need what things to survive, right? Food, water, and shelter. So looking at just this picture of the desert doesn't look like there's a whole lot or any of that. So how did people survive there? Okay, so there's these little things called oases. That's plural. Oasis is one in the desert, and it's like a little spot where there's water and plants. So these are kind of located sporadically throughout the desert, and that's where people got their sustainable resources, food, water, shelter. So you lived either one or two lifestyles. You were either a Bedouin. Bedouins were nomadic. They traveled from oasis to oasis, and they would set up these big tents, etc., that I'll show you in a second, and then move on to the next one. Or you lived in a village or town that obviously had to be located near an oasis. So I'm going to put this up there and let you guys write that down. I even put a little notebook and laid it out exactly how I want you to write it. So pause this, write that. Okay, so these are these like gigantic tents that the Bedouins have set up. It's not probably what you were thinking when I first said it, but they're these big elaborate tents. There's even like beds and furniture in there. And keep in mind they're traveling with all of this stuff. One of the ways that they did that was they used a lot of camels. Camels are big and they're pretty strong. They can carry a lot of stuff. Also, camels, somebody's going to bring this up, so I'll go ahead and, okay, their hump is not filled with water. They retain water in the fat in their hump, meaning they can go a long time without drinking. So they can make the journey across the desert without getting dehydrated. But I'm just front loading that because every year someone thinks that you just like stab that hump and water comes out. That's not how it works. And then just because, if it's not Wednesday, sorry that sucks, but it's not Wednesday because it's going to be Flex Wednesday, so you guys won't have an assignment, so it's totally a moot point. But anyway, there's the hump day whole thing, if y'all even remember that. Okay, so there are two types of religion that exist in the world. There's polytheism and monotheism, many gods, one God, right? So we've already got Judaism and Christianity, and then you're introduced to a third one with this guy named Muhammad. So he is traveling around, preaching these ideas that he says came to him in like a vision, that God came to him, gave him these ideas, and said, "Hey, you're my messenger. You need to preach these and spread this word," sort of thing. So his followers called him the messenger of God. They considered him to be a prophet. And he is considered to be the founder of the third monotheistic religion in the world. So pause it and write this. Again, we've got polytheism and monotheism. Polytheism varies from each civilization. Like the Greeks and the Romans have the same gods with different names, and then the ancient Egyptians had their own gods, that sort of thing. Monotheism is belief in one God. There are three in the world: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And we have touched on the other two, and we will kind of go back and review all of them together. So Islam, they have a holy book, like the other two religions. Um, Judaism has the Torah, Christianity has the Bible, and Islam's scripture is called the Quran. And the place where they worship is called a mosque. They're these big, beautiful, elaborate buildings that I will show you guys some cool pictures of later. But the principles that they live by, whereas it would be the Ten Commandments with Christianity and Judaism, are called the five pillars. These are the five big, basic kind of ideas. And you didn't have to write anything from that. This side you do need to write. Apparently my computer chose that moment to have a meltdown. Anyways, so yes, so write this down, pause it. Okay, so the five pillars of Islam are the sort of the principles that they live by. No, you don't have to draw these little columns, but you do need to write these 5 tenets. In a second, when I'm done talking, you can pause it. The first one was make a testimony of faith. So that means you declare that there is one God, that God is Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet. They pray 5 times a day. It's a routine ritual type of deal. They give to you have to make a commitment to give to the needy, to fast for Ramadan. Fasting means not eating. However, Ramadan is like the 9th month of the Islamic year. Fasting doesn't mean that they all just starve themselves and die. Okay, it's I think sun up from sundown. It's a period of time during the day, so they're not dropping like flies during Ramadan or anything like that. It's just a religious observance. And the last one is to, if you are able sometime in your life, to make a pilgrimage or journey to their holy city where Muhammad was born, which is called Mecca. And that journey is called the Hajj. So you can pause it now and write these things down. You can write them in like a list form. Okay, you don't have to write this either. This is just sort of a comprehensive overview of all three, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The only thing that's not in the chart is sort of like the principles they live by, which would be the Ten Commandments for Judaism and Christianity, and it would be the five pillars for Islam. But you've got the founder of Judaism was Abraham, Jesus was Christianity, and Muhammad is Islam. The holy book for Judaism is the Torah, which is the Old Testament of the Bible for Christianity, and the holy scripture for Islam is the Quran. Then you've got your place of worship, synagogue, church, and mosque for Islam. Okay, so now we're going to get into some kind of political stuff, because what do I say? People always have to complain, right? So Muhammad is what's called the Caliph. He's like the patriarch of Islam. He's like the father of it, you know. And so when he dies, they need someone to sort of replace him as what's called Caliph, the messenger of God, to kind of take that place, right? So of course everyone disagrees, and what happens is the religion splits into two sects or parts, called the Sunnis and the Shiites. And you can pause it to go ahead and write this. And I am going to stop there for today, and then we'll get into sort of the political stuff during our next lesson.